Welcome to the premiere episode for season 2 of Honest Hour. This is my first in-person interview. I'm very, very excited. I'm ecstatic, and it's a long time coming. So as you know, as I've announced that I have moved over to the COC Network, which is part of the reason why this is able to happen. And it also wouldn't happen without this man right here to my left. This man he calls me the hardest working man, but he's an inspiration himself. He works in DC, corporate suit, all nice and ready to go for that. He also is a producer of multiple shows on this network. He also has his own podcast, Conversations Over Chess, which I was on. Check that out on YouTube. Don't come for me with those Kendrick comments, though. He also is a good brother, an uplifting spirit. This is Mr. Elijah Wells. How you doing today?
How's everything going, boss man?
I can't complain. It does the body no good. How about you?
Yeah, listen, I'm tired. I'm tired, but I'm blessed.
You're tired and you're blessed, but
Yeah.
you know what? That's good. We're above ground.
Yes, sir.
Everyone's happy. To an extent, healthy.
Yeah.
And we're here. We're here to do this. I want to say thank you for allowing my shows to come onto your platform
I
and
appreciate
onto
it.
your network to help grow. I'm excited about what this year is going to bring.
No, I'm very ecstatic for sure, and I appreciate you believing in the dream for sure. It really means a lot.
Absolutely, man. It's the vision. We got to help one another.
Yes.
And there's not enough of that in the world, of people helping one another and wanting to be genuine about it. I pride myself on being a genuine human being.
Yes.
And I think you do too.
I do.
Absolutely. There's also always good vibes when you're around, so it was a no-brainer.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
It was a no-brainer. So let's just start from the beginning. Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from, a lot of people may not know this, but I'm born in Poughkeepsie.
I was born in Poughkeepsie too.
Yeah, I was born in Poughkeepsie. I believe I was raised there till 5 and then moved to Newburgh, New York. Newburgh, New York is where I'm from, is what I claim the most. But that's it. Born and raised Poughkeepsie, moved to Newburgh, New York, and that's what I rep to the death of me now is Newburgh.
Okay. And what were some of your experiences like growing up in Newburgh?
Some of my experiences have been a little bit of everything. Growing up, I had a brief stint where I called myself trying to gangbang. I guess you can say that. But I was not a tough cookie whatsoever.
Yeah.
I was the individual that I was with the shits until it was actually time to be with the shits. And that only lasted for a brief minute, and I was like, this is not the life for me.
Yeah.
So growing up, I was a knucklehead like most kids, just doing little mischievous things, little stupid stuff, robbing and stealing, stuff like that. And then I got into sports.
Okay.
I think Pop Warner football was the first sport I got into.
Nice.
Played basketball on the block. Shout out to Isaiah, all my friends that used to live on City Terrace in North with me. And because of them, I got into basketball, and then that really became like the thing that got me like into the sports world. So,
okay. And it kind of it also helped you, sounds like, stay away from that element as well.
Yeah,
Took your attention and relocated it to something else.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good positive outlet because all of the energy, all of the things that I was doing, ripping and running and doing in the streets, I can now put into sports. I often tell people football is the only sport you can literally kill anybody. Now in the UFC, you can have that as well, but you can literally kill somebody on these playing fields.
Absolutely.
And get away with it. So I just put that energy all towards that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So what were some of your other interests outside of the sports growing up?
Sheesh. I feel like growing up, my main goal was just to always make money. And my badness as a kid was all in pursuit of that. So I don't know if you've seen the viral clip with 50 Cent. He's just like, yo, in today's world, like, it's really people just grimy. But back then it was like morals because it was all in the pursuit of something.
Right.
That was literally me. I would steal, like, all jokes aside, I would steal GPS out of cars and sell it to the Akis in the corner store for $20 just because I wanted the cash. Like, I wanted the money.
Oh,
like,
wow.
all the stuff that I got in trouble for was petty larceny, grand larceny. It was always stealing to go sell to go get the money. But then it took me my uncle coming into my life to say, hey, look, you don't have to steal. You can go work for it because he used to work a lot. And then once he had got a hold of my little free labor tail, it took off after that. But that really instilled a lot into me, the values of you can go work for the stuff that you want. So it was stealing to go get to the pursuit of the money, and then it turned into, hey, uncle got a hold of me, and then I started working, and he would pay me daily.
Okay, so he seen what you were doing wrong,
Yeah.
and rerouted you
Exactly.
to the right way to do things to get what you wanted.
Yes.
Okay, and what was like your family like growing up?
So I'm the youngest of four. I have 3 older siblings. I have twin sisters. Shout out to them too, Tiana and Tiara. And then I have an older brother, Manny. We're all 3 years apart. So if I'm 28, they're 31 and 34.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you all grew up in the house together?
Yeah, so we all have different fathers, but we all grew up with my mom and then our grandmother. So
Okay.
what I remember the most was growing up, and my mom would work, and then we would stay with our grandmother who would live with us.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then as years went on, my grandmother ended up eventually passing away. Then it was just us, and then my mom, and then my mom ended up eventually passing away.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, and it's rough when those things happen.
Yeah.
And growing up with a family and things of that nature, I'm sure there was a lot of madness, a lot of chaos,
yeah.
fighting
was.
all the time.
It was a lot of fights, mainly between my sisters. Though I remember my mom used to have this thing where it's just like, if y'all won't argue, we'll raise up the little the beds that we had on the floor.
Yeah.
And y'all could fight it out. So
Oh, and she was all with it.
yeah. She was one of them types of moms. Like, all right.
So now you travel a lot.
Yes, I
You
do.
travel a lot, and but your as I say, bread and butter
Mm-hmm.
is what you do in Washington D.C.
Yes.
I'm not even sure, and if you don't mind explaining, what exactly is it that you do
Yeah.
in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
2 days a week in office, and then do it from virtually anywhere on the planet the other 3 days.
I'm glad you asked that. So I work for the 5th biggest private equity firm in the world. So what does that mean? In the world, everybody knows that you can go to the stock market and invest $1 that's publicly traded. Where I work is private, meaning that not the average person can go invest in that. So the individuals who work or invest with my company are like ultra high net worth, the Jeff Bezos, like can be like even like a huge fund in a sense, or a huge firm, or let's just say Apple as an example wants to invest some money into something privately. We work with individuals like that. What I specifically do is I work for a specific section of it called the internal co-investment, which basically says we work for this firm. You are a high-ranking member in the firm, so because you are high-ranking, you probably have a very lavish salary. You invest part of that money alongside the Apples and the Howard Endowment Fund, and basically I manage the reporting for that to say, hey, look, this employee who gave $1, it's now worth $1.25, and here's your financial reporting along with some tax information. So that's what I do basically on a quarterly basis, is say, hey, this is valued at $1.50. Here's the portion of your money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of stress, like mentally. like you got to be good with numbers. You got to have the wherewithal to make sure you have all the knowledge.
Yeah.
So, and how exactly did you transition to getting to that specific job?
Yeah.
Because that's not something everyone does every day.
No. So I knew I wanted to do, I got into the world of finance and accounting because my mentor, James, I think he's a CFO for Stanley Black & Decker now.
Okay.
And I seen he was driving a Tesla. He's a black man. I'm like, yo, what is it that you do? He's like, I majored in accounting. And now that I'm older, it wasn't just accounting that he majored in, but that's what he told me. So I jumped off the ledge. Like most individuals, I opened up a Robinhood account. I saw that like $1 turned into $5, and all I did was just invest in like, at the time, I think I bought like Ford and Nike. He's like, invest in stuff that you know, always hold for the rest of your life. You're going to make dividends off of it in the long run.
Okay.
And that right there propelled me to say, okay, I keep having to Google what these terms mean. And I think I should just major in it. I think I should just go to college for it. So that's what I did. I went to college and I got a degree in accounting. And then, as my accounting professor tells it, it's literally you just need to know what the house is made up of and putting the correct items in the right room, in the right drawer, in the right dresser. And that's what accounting is. It's essentially, we call it bean counting, but that's what she calls it.
Okay.
So I did that for my accounting degree in my bachelor's. I went and graduated from HBCU Del State. And then I went on to get my finance degree because then finance is the other side of it where it's like it's heavy, like financial terms, financial analysis, things like that. So I was like, let me get the best of both worlds. How I stumbled into that is because I was working for the state of Delaware. I was doing like payroll, little BS accounting stuff. And then I was like, yo, this is cool, but I'm only making $30,000 a year. I didn't go to college to make this amount of money. So then I jumped into the corporate world. I went from making like 30 grand to like 58 grand. And
Nice increase to start.
yeah, and I was just like, but I was, remember I was in the state of Delaware, so that I had to jump to where was that at? Minnesota. I moved to Minnesota to make the 58 grand, but that was doing fee for service accounting, which is basically I worked for United Healthcare. They say, hey, I broke my pinky. I need that fixed today. I don't have insurance, so I'll go into the office. I'll pay for that fee. So it's a fee for service.
Okay.
So that was the accounting. The reason it was in Minnesota is because basically they were doing away with all of their like centralized locations. So you broke your pinky in Arizona. There used to be an accounting firm out there in Arizona. They said, no, let's just go bring everything to the corporate office. So I moved out there, and then that was not it. I felt like I need to be a doctor. I did not understand any of the terminology.
It was like Chinese.
Yeah, I was like, yo, this is not accounting. I feel like I should have became a doctor. I don't understand it. So in the world of accounting, if you don't understand the industry of what you're accounting for, it's just never going to work out. So I was like, I got to get the hell up out of here. So I left that and then stumbled upon a role that was listed for Chicago, Illinois. And I was like, yo, I love traveling. I'm going to just move to Chicago for this job. And that's how I stumbled into this world of like investing in private equity and all of that stuff. When I first started out, basically what happens is that the DC folks and the New York folks will shake hands to kiss the babies to say, Howard, come invest with me. And then once they get your money, they'll ship the accounting off to a third party. Sometimes it's in India, but for this time, it was in Utah. So the New York and the powers that be on the East Coast got the money, and they shipped it off to these folks called Ultradamus. Ultradamus is a Luxembourg-owned company that has multiple locations in the U.S. This location just so happened to be in Utah. So I was working for the other side of the house, still in the same world of private equity, but it was just for a different person.
Okay.
So that's what introduced it to me. And then from there, I loved it because where I was in Minnesota, every end of the month we would close the books. When in Utah, and then still today, it's every quarter we close the books. So I tell people I literally work hard at the end of every quarter instead of at the end of every month.
And for, like, that's like my job, I do Nabisco, truck driving warehouse. And the quarter for us is like every 3 months or every time a season changes. It's kind of the same thing. So
it's
like
cyclical.
So like March, June, like September, October, then obviously the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of like, it sounds like a lot, but once you get into the realm of it,
Yes.
it's kind of like, all right, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But is it rewarding, and are you passionate about that, or for you is it just a job?
See, it's a little bit of both. I feel like more recently it's just like, dang, this just means to an end and it's just a job. But I still thoroughly enjoy the world of investing in finance and all of those things. I just think that what I'm specifically doing may not be fulfilling. Like if I was on Wall Street, if I was like at the stock market every day, that would be like, I'll be salivating at the mouth.
Right.
And it's hard work to get there, and it's hard work to maintain all of those things, but that was what originally I jumped into this world for.
Absolutely.
So it's just like, now that I'm not doing that, it's like I can do that personally. Like I personally invest. I personally have investment clubs. I personally do all that stuff. But it's just like, it just seems like the 9 to 5 is just that for me. It's like you give me the money so I can go do what I want with the fun that I really want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have any desires or passion to push forth to get there?
At this point in my career, no. Only reason is because I'm more of the mindset that I'm going from working for one company to go work for another. And I'm trying to get away from working for somebody. I'm trying to get it to the point where it's like I'm either an entrepreneur or I built it and, I'm working for myself and self-maintained. So everything in my mindset is just always, you can always get another job. Like, God forbid I get let go. I can always go
Absolutely.
find another job. But I feel like I'm at the point in my life where it's just like I need to start betting on me.
And I think that's where we all are. That's the part of the reason why I started podcasting and I venture into many different things.
Yeah.
Because, like, I look at it like this: you go and punch a clock, and you make hundreds of thousands or maybe even millions of dollars for this company, your job, and it's just
Yeah.
like, why can't I not punch a clock and make that for myself?
Yeah, and I feel like it's easier said than done, and I think people don't understand how hard it really is. Like, it's super super hard to be successful, independent of, just to be self sufficient is super hard. And I feel
Absolutely.
like people just take it too lightly, where I don't, because if I've had to grind and we've had to grind to get to this point in our life, you
Absolutely.
got to understand, like, to not have that 2 weeks check coming in is detrimental.
Absolutely.
It's detrimental. But the flip side of that is, if we look around and we just study the landscape, anybody and everybody that continuously took the risk and prevailed to the other side, it was worth it. So I'm of that mindset now, where it's just like, yo, my CEO is getting a bonus of $30 million, as an example. I'm not too sure if that's specifically it, but
Right, but in general,
in general, he just made a bonus of $30 million. My bonus is we're in January of 2025. My bonus in December was $3,000, $3,000.
and it's taxed.
Yeah, and it's tax. He's got $30 million, and oh, by the way, because he probably got it in stock, it's not going to be taxed.
Oh yeah, so and then that's not taxed at all.
Yeah, until he probably sells it. So it's just like that right there is the only reason why I keep going. I swear to God, that's the only reason why. It's because it's not about the fame, the accolade. This nigga got 30 million, 30 million, and you giving me scrums. Now don't get it effed up. I know my little 6-figure salary is good, better than most. Nah. You not telling me he's $30 million better than me. Now don't get it twisted. He probably went to the Ivy League school.
Absolutely.
He did all the steps, sacrificed his wife and kids. Like, he probably went through some stuff to get to there. But 30 million? That's why I'm like, no, I don't need the whole 30, but I need a piece of that pie. And I think the only thing that was taught to me from my mentor, that same one, was that the only way to basically get over or to ascend to the top of the ranks is if you create something or if you own something.
Absolutely.
If you look around the landscape, Apple created. If you look around the landscape, they own. Like, the white man owns it. If you don't own or if you don't create, you'll never be over the hump. And that's what I just sought out to do. It's like, I need to create and I need to own. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a nice kind of segue, because now obviously that's the daytime, the 9 to 5,
Yeah.
bread and butter, as we all have.
Yep.
So let's get into conversations over chess. Where did the idea for it come from, and why chess?
So it's pretty funny. The idea originated, shout out to Salvador. At that 9 to 5, I have a chessboard on my desk, and then there's like a small glass set that was already at the office before I came.
Okay.
And he is an individual who I essentially mentor. He works in IT, whole different side of the house, but he's just like, yo, bro, you're young, you're successful in my mind. How did you get here? And I'm like, bro, I'm gonna give you all the game that wasn't given to me, and please make sure you pay attention to the mistakes that was made. But what so happened that we would always talk over a game of chess.
Okay.
So literally January of 2024, I'm literally working in Excel doing a 9 to 5 task, and I'm just like, damn, conversations over chess does have a little ring to it. So then I'm like, all right, F it. I'm gonna just start a podcast. I'm bored as hell. I'm just working and going home. I ain't got no girl, no kids. I'm gonna just start a podcast.
Absolutely.
My first ever episode was interviewing Salvador.
Okay.
That's my first ever episode. And if you look back, it's still on YouTube. If you look back, I think it was probably like 1 or 2 angles, That shit was steady, blurry, everything. It was terrible lighting. Fucking audio was terrible. But that's where it came from. And I was just like, I'm going to just continue to do this. And one thing about me is that I may not look the prettiest, may not be the smartest, but I'm going to outwork. And my thing is I want to be the best, so I got to go put in the work. So Google and YouTube, the audio mics, the cameras, the this, the that. And then what really helped me out is that I have friends in the space. So shout out to Mark Giles, who I met when I was living in Utah. He's a cinematographer.
Okay.
I said, hey, I need some game on this. Literally flew him out here. He gave me games. This is what button you press. This is what lighting looks like. This is dot, and the third. I'm like, appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Shaq. He said, look, I don't give a F what you got, but you need to invest in lighting. Shaq with, Shaq with 2 Qs from Newburgh, New York.
Yeah.
He said, invest in lighting. That's when I went out and bought all these pieces of lighting that we see behind us.
Wow.
Like, people gave me game along the way, and I just had, one, the resources, meaning the money, and then just the want to say, I'm going to invest because I want to be the best.
Absolutely.
So it helped to have individuals in it, Shaq, Mark, other individuals, and then my boys on the back end like, nigga, that's not it. It's been plenty of times Slink and Don have been like, bro, what the F are you doing? So that helps out to have people in the game, in the space, and just the resources to go and invest in yourself.
So, because I'm not even going to hold you. I actually came across yours like I always say I come across things on accident.
Yeah.
But sometimes accidents create your path, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first episode I remember seeing was Skateboard T.
Okay.
And Skateboard, if you watching, you've been ducking me, bro. I've been trying to get you on this show. You've been ducking me. We met right here at Happy Tree. You said you'd come on. You've been ducking me.
Don't worry, I got you. I'm going to get him on there now. I'm on your ass now, treasure.
And I think you guys were outside somewhere. It was nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was natural sunlight, and we had did it at the skateboard park in Newburgh. So we filmed outdoors.
Oh, okay.
Fun fact, it was like 1,000 degrees, so we had to break every 10 minutes we'll speak, and then we'll break to wipe sweat and shit, bro. It was crazy, man.
Oh, it was hot as hell.
Yeah.
It was hot as hell. So that was the first episode I recollect was that one.
Okay.
Coming across that. And then I remember you did one live here with Andromeda.
Yep.
Shout out to her.
Shout out to her.
That's my girl right there.
Yeah.
And I say that to say, now you're up to season 5.
Yeah.
So if you started this about a year ago, how many episodes were you doing? Because it's not even like season 5. I think my episode's episode 40.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's intentionality behind that. I Googled because we hear all the time, or at least I hear all the time, syndication. So Martin's show is syndicated. Most people know the Martin show, right?
Right.
From my understanding, the syndication means that it airs basically perpetually across all of these platforms, and Martin will forever receive a check from that show.
Royalties.
Exactly. So I had to Google. I literally Googled, how many episodes do you need to be syndicated? And the answer was you need 100 episodes across, I think it was a few seasons.
Okay.
So what I did was every quarter, starting in January, so into March, into June, into September, into December, would be a season, because I know that I wanted the seasons to go faster.
Right.
And then I know that I need to pump out at least 100 episodes in order to be syndicated, because in my mind, I believe in myself, I'm going to go to the moon. So I need at least 100 episodes so that when whoever comes around, Tyler Perry's like, yo, I like your shit.
Right.
Well, okay, I want syndication for wherever this goes, because here's 100 episodes that I'm giving to you. So that's why the seasons are so fast in that sense. It was season 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 now jumping into 2025. And then the episodes are still weekly, but obviously I knew that I need to do that across 2 years. I can't just pump up just because.
Right.
So it's still a weekly show. I'm at episode 40 at the time of this recording, and that seasons will actually slow down now because I'm only going to do every 6 months. So every Every 6 months will be a season now for Conversations Over Chess.
Okay.
So it'll be now season 5 for the first quarter, or excuse me, for the first half of the year, season 6 for the second half. Seasons can slow down, episodes will speed up, so that by the time I do anything, I have 100 of whatever to say, hey, I want to be syndicated wherever I go.
So just for me, anyone who's watching who may not know, what exactly does syndicated mean?
I don't know the specific definition of it, but from my understanding, it's basically saying that you have created enough of something to now be packaged and sold to wherever the powers to be that it's being sold to, and that wherever that lives, whatever I've created lives, I'll always will receive a royalty check from my understanding of it.
Okay.
Please Google it for yourself.
Okay. So 100 episodes is what's considered syndicated.
From my understanding when I Googled, yes.
I guess I'm well on my way. I think this is season 2, episode 1, but this is episode 54, I want to say, in total.
Yeah.
So we're halfway. We're halfway there.
Yeah.
We're halfway there. So okay. So you did. So that was the idea behind Conversations Over Chess. So you explained how you got all this, or actually, hold on before we get to that. Almost forgot. Usually, I play my game, and I usually write them down, but I don't write them down. So I'm just gonna kind of use my brain and go off the cusp.
Okay.
So it's usually an icebreaker for this show for me to do with my game Honest Picks.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you 2 artists,
All right.
or 2 of something.
All right.
Tell me which one you like more.
I'm not ducking smoke on this one.
But this is gonna be based on personal preference. There's no like, oh, this or that, no stats or anything. Just which one you like better.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with this: Tupac or DMX.
Ooh. I'm going to say DMX.
Okay.
I'm going to say DMX. I love Tupac dearly because of the impact, social injustices, all of that stuff. But I'm going to say DMX because there's no other individual that I can think of that is another DMX.
There's no one like him.
Yeah. Like Tupac, I feel like we can put a bunch of people in that so-called box, right? If it's a make-believe box. But there's no other person in the world like DMX. Period. No. So that's why I'll go with DMX.
Rest in peace, X.
Yeah. X gonna give it to you.
Party up. The song he didn't even want to make.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't even want to do the song.
Rough
Swiss
Rider,
Beats
Dogs.
made him do the song.
Yeah. So DMX.
Okay. Rakim or KRS-One?
So those 2 are a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I know KRS-One only because just a little bit of history. I believe he's from the Bronx, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, I know him. Fat Joe speaks highly of him. But Rakim, I don't know what it is. I just, every time I think about him, think about swag. Skinny Rakim back in the day. Everybody loved him. So I'm going to go Rakim only because of just that. I don't know too much in regards to the music. Not too familiar with it. But Rakim, fly guy, I'm going to go with him because of the style.
Okay. Jay-Z or Nas?
Ooh. I'm going to have to go Hove only because the business success.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
when it comes to music, I feel like they're even in my mind, in my personal opinion, they're even. But it's just the business acumen on him, coming from a business individual, is just like, nigga, you came from Brooklyn, my nigga.
You know, you came from like nothing to something.
Literally. And he got a bad bitch on his side. Yeah. Don't come for me, queen. Don't come for me. I'm sorry. Beehive, don't sting me. But he got a baddie on his side, family man. Hopefully these charges ain't real, but his business acumen is crazy.
Can't deny it.
Yeah.
Jadakiss or Fab?
Oh, man. I'm going to go Jada. And the only reason why is because of the, I don't live in Miami. I'm outside. That's the only reason why. Both of them in my mind lyrically are tied. Jada is just, I just feel like he still has that rawness in him. Not to say that Fab doesn't, but I've just paid a lot more attention to it. I just love the rawness, the grittiness, and he really does a lot for the community down in Yonkers. Like,
Absolutely.
I think him and Styles P opened up like a little juice bar or something like that. But he loves his community, and I can appreciate that.
Okay.
And again, not to say that Fab doesn't, but I'm going with
No, not at all. Like I said, this is personal opinion. You know, music is subjective, and same thing. Anything, movies, it's all subjective.
Yeah.
You know, it's just. I just think it's a good game for people just to play and just kind of get inside their mind a little bit.
Definitely.
Drake or Big Sean?
Drake. Drake for sure. I love Big Sean for real. One of my favorite songs from him is called "Crazy." He crazy
Yeah.
in the mud. But
Yeah.
but Drake, he just has a bunch of bangers. Literally, Drake can have me in my bag, can uplift me out the bag, can pray for me, like all of that. He's just all around.
Absolutely.
Superstar, so Drake for sure.
J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar?
Kendrick is on fire right now, but I'm a J. Cole fan. The only reason why is because I feel like above everything else, he's the greatest poet ever.
Okay.
And the fact that he can lace that great poetry to a track just makes him undeniable. Kendrick has the game on lock, has it in a chokehold right now. It's just, I'm personally just a fan more of J. Cole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris Brown or Usher?
Damn.
He's like, well, that went left. That went left quick.
I might just need to choose Chris Brown because he ain't out here serenading people's wives and shit. I had to fight Usher ass. But, damn, that's a good one. That is a good one. I grew up on both of them, I feel like, for real.
Usher's been around. Listen, Usher, like, you know, I'm 36. I know you're 28.
Yeah.
You know, but even still, Usher's been, when I was a kid, Usher was around.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, Usher's around. So, like, for me, like, Usher, like, me, my first is, like, My Way.
Yeah.
You Make Me Wanna, that time. But for you, it might have been, like, 8701. Might have been, like, Confessions.
My Boo with Alicia Keys.
Which Confessions arguably the greatest R&B album
Can I pick
ever.
a tie? Can I pick both? Or
You can pick both.
okay,
yes.
I'm gonna be politically correct on that one and just pick both. Only because they both undeniable. But stay away from my woman, Usher. Stay away from her. You ain't dropping no cherries in her mouth. God dang it.
Beyonce or Aaliyah?
Beyonce, only because I don't know too much of Aaliyah in the sense.
Okay.
Like, I wasn't really around.
Okay, that's a fair
Yeah.
fair take. I'm trying to keep them towards where you would be more renowned to know.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of another one. All right. I guess this is a little off key, but this should work. R. Kelly. Mm-hmm. Music only, people. Music only.
Or did he? Not
R. Kelly.
Uh-huh.
Or Luther Vandross.
Damn. I'm gonna go Luther. Just because of the impact. Like outside, I'm talking strictly music, obviously, but I feel like Luther, like he's like my mom played Luther, I play Luther type thing. You know what I mean? Obviously, my mom played R. Kelly as well, but it's just like Luther just was like he did something different for my mom and for me. And I'm just like, God dang.
You're like, man. Like Luther was that dude.
Yeah. So, and again, R. Kelly musically, you know what I mean, did his thing, but it's just like Luther was legend.
Okay, you can't deny a legend.
No, you really cannot.
You just cannot. You cannot. Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles. Or I had a guest call it the Battle of the Blinds.
I was gonna say, man, golly. Blind on blind murder. Both again musically outside the wheelhouse, but I'll go Stevie Wonder just because I be hearing stories from Shaq and them guys that he be taking people's women and all. So I'm gonna go Stevie.
You ever heard the story when he was in the elevator with Shaq?
Yeah, Shaq was saying that he's just like, I know that's you, big fella. I'm like, hold on.
He just turned around and looked at him like, "What's up, big fella?"
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm gonna go Stevie just because he might be out here catfishing with the blindness.
Aretha Franklin or Whitney Houston?
Ty. I love them both.
said Ty.
Ty for sure. Love them both. Love them both dearly. I literally can listen to Aretha's rendition of Amazing Grace and then anything Whitney Houston. Actually, Whitney Houston is my go-to karaoke.
Okay, okay.
What is it? Saving All My Love. That
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
you
Ty for
just
sure.
you can't go wrong. And the infamous last one, Michael Jackson or Prince.
I'm gonna go Ty. They both outside the wheelhouse.
Ty.
Both outside the wheelhouse. Obviously, I know a lot more Michael than Prince.
Uh-huh.
But the only reason why I'm gonna go Ty is because I know a lot more Michael than Prince. But my mom loved Prince. She literally
Purple Rain.
She hated sports, but she watched Prince's halftime when he performed Purple Rain. That's the only time I ever
And
seen
it
my mom.
actually rained.
Yeah.
Like only that could happen for Prince.
Yeah.
Like that was magical in itself. I was like, yo, it really rained.
Yeah. So that's the only reason why it's a tie is because how much love my mom had for Prince and then the familiarity I had with Michael Jackson.
Prince, like we talked about Hove being a smart businessman.
Yep.
Don't come for me, people. Business wise, for a long time, Diddy was a smart businessman. Mm-hmm. I don't like his other decisions.
Yep.
But business wise, 50 Cent. I actually read. You ever read his book about business? 50 Cent.
The 50 Laws of Power or no?
I think it's that one. I can't remember.
I just remember he had the 50 Laws of Power, which was
It had
a
to be
rendition
that.
of another book.
Yeah, but it was him. It was like a brown cover. He was in a suit. Like
I think it is that one. I'm not too sure, bro. But we can look it
yeah,
up for
but
sure.
that one's real good. He's real smart. But Prince puts them all to shame.
Yeah.
Have you ever really like listened to what he says about business? Like, so there's an interview. I believe it's Jay Leno,
Okay.
and they're talking, and they were like, Jay Leno was saying how Mariah Carey at the time had just signed some big deal for $20 million, and Prince goes, "Okay, you think that's a lot of money?" And then he goes, "Okay, let's do some simple math. How much do you think a record cost?" And then at the time, I guess they said like $9.99. He goes, "Okay,
Yeah.
and how much of that money would you give me?" And then you're like, "All right, X amount." And then he was just like, "Okay, so let's just say you give me half."
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, and then that equals whatever amount that is." He goes, "You look at it, Mariah kind of got screwed."
Yeah.
And then they're all like, "Whoa." And it just really puts a perspective on his business mindset.
Yeah.
Because Nas was on Drink Champs one time and they asked him, "Has anyone ever told you no?" And he thought. And then he goes, "Yes, Prince."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Well, why?" He goes, "Because he didn't own his music. He didn't want to do a song with Nas
Yeah.
and then someone else get paid the money for the music."
Yeah. I mean, I can respect that.
So Prince was such a gem.
Yeah.
A gem, and we should always look to more. And I'm just look in the camera and tell people, look for those business gems. Look for those things that people don't tell you. Do your research, and if you're gonna get into business, I'm learning on the fly. So just do your research and look at things before you sign things and all that.
Yeah.
So I want to flip back over here a little bit. Did you enjoy the game?
I did. I enjoyed that a lot. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah. I just gotta figure out a better way moving forward. Usually I have like 30 of them, but my brain is just not operating.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I like that a lot, though.
Oh yeah. So the conversations over chess, it's been doing real well.
Yeah.
It's a seems very successful. So from that, now you've decided to garner off in a sense and kind of expand.
Yes.
So not only do you just have the conversations over chess, you've decided to create a whole network.
Yes.
What garnered that decision to start a whole network of shows and offer up the production and help other shows get to where you envision what you see.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to resources. And I think that the a great advice that was given to me from a young lady named Darvincia Warren, she was just like, a lot of people think that you need to always exchange economic value, meaning a dollar or actual currency, but she had put into my mind like you can actually barter. Like there's a system that you can barter to say, hey, look, you need this phone, and I got this remote that you need. Let's just switch. No
Right.
economic value. We can just barter that. So I was like, okay, I really like that a lot because it saves the most important value, which is the money that us as individuals can retain. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. So then I looked around the landscape and I'm like, I have all these resources in the sense of cameras, lights, edit my own videos at the time. I know all of this stuff, which is a resource for others. Why not just share that with them and then we can all eat together? Because I feel like the African proverb is right. You can go farther together. If you want to go fast, go alone. So in the beginning, I had to go fast. The fast part was learning. Before, when I started this, you can ask Donovan. Half the time the cameras were out of focus, missed a part, something died. So I had to learn and make all the mistakes on my own.
Right.
So that now when I come to you to say, hey, look, I'm bringing a full fledged production, it's going to be the greatest production that you've seen.
Absolutely.
So I had to go fast first on my own with the knowledge. And then I'm like, okay, I got the knowledge now. Now let me look at the rest of the landscape. Okay, there's an individual that's in my hometown that may have a show already, but he might not have the quality, or he has the quality but doesn't have the audio. Let me be a resource, but there has to be a value exchanged. I feel like for the resource, and it doesn't have to always be an exchange. But I feel
Right.
like, what other reason would it be? So I'm like, okay, what would be actual value to everybody? Because I don't want it to just be a one lopsided. Yes, the bartering is good. You got that audio better, and then whatever happens, and you gave something to me. But it's just like, how can we all always win? Because I feel like a lot of times individuals go into business with only thinking about themselves. I'm going into business thinking about everybody. Where that if it goes to the moons, then everybody eats. Not only can
Absolutely.
I feed myself and my family, you can feed yourself and your family. So I'm like, all right, I got it. I've been off social media from I'm 28, probably from the age of 0 to 23. So I was always off it. And
Yeah.
then when I got on it, because I was off it, I was used to just, I could post and leave. And then as I got used to posting more often for my show, I was posting every day. I just started looking around the landscape. And I'm like, oh, I get it. Cash is no longer king, content is.
Absolutely.
So if I know content is king, I remember Gary Vee saying that you, as an individual, will not have the opportunity to pump out as much content as needed to compete with the masses. So I believed him. I believe that I couldn't, but if I have 15 shows, if I have 100 shows, then you got to think. And let's do the math because I'm not mental with the math, right? So where's my calculator on my phone? If we do the pure math of it all, right? Calculator. If I have 150 shows posting 3 times a day, that's 450 pieces of content
A day.
a day. Let's just say times 365. That's 164,000 pieces of content in a year. Now I feel like I can compete with the machines.
Absolutely.
I seen a clip where this guy said he posted 10 times a day on Facebook. 10 times a day. That is why the network was born. Because I want to compete with the machine, but I can't create single-handedly enough pieces of content myself.
Absolutely.
So why not go invest in the person who just needs a camera, the person who just needs audio, the person who just needs light, or the person who has the greatest idea ever? Because I know for a fact I don't have the best ideas, but you just created the greatest idea in your mind, but you don't have the resources, the money, or whatever, even the time to
Right.
execute on that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm investing in opportunities. I'm investing in people's ideas. I'm investing in people's shows. I'm investing in people, period. People more than anything else. Outside of the content, I'm investing in people who come up with these brilliant ideas. And all I'm saying is, you come up with the idea, by right, you should own it.
Absolutely.
You own it. You created it. All I'm saying is have that idea live over here, because when it lives on one small plantation, any income that comes from this plantation can be split accordingly, right? And then once it's split, we're now making something where before everybody was making nothing.
Absolutely.
And that's where the idea of the channel network came from. It's like, okay, content is king, but I can't produce enough of it. Let me go scoop up this one, scoop up this one, scoop up this one, this one. Now, when we're posting 3 times a day, we can get to that 164,000 a year. And oh, by the way, when you're putting out that much content,
Absolutely.
YouTube's paying you, brands are paying you, sponsorships are paying you, and I'm not greedy whatsoever. Let's bust this down. $1 came in. We had 4 individuals. We all get a quarter. That's a quarter more that I had today than the 0 I had yesterday.
Absolutely.
Now, the problem is I got to be mindful is that our black people get greedy sometimes. Our black people want to be the head nigga in charge sometimes. Our black people want to do everything and anything except for play the role that they're just dealt. And that's the hardest thing about this entire network.
Absolutely.
I could come in, full-fledged production, have your shit built out, edit it, da-da-da-da-da, snap of a finger. I have to manage people. That is the hardest thing about this whole thing.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's like managing. Sometimes it could be like children, right?
Yes.
And it's just like trying to keep not so much everyone in line, but just keep it to where it's like, like you said, people come into business wanting to just worry about themselves.
Yeah.
If I come in just worrying about me and saying fuck you, well, without you, I can't get to where I'm going.
Exactly.
So it needs to be a two-way street, or like you said, an exchange or a barter.
Yes.
Is the word you used.
Yes.
Because if it's not that, then what are we doing here?
Exactly. And the thing about it is, at the end of the day, the pure basis of doing a deal is because the deal was beneficial for both parties.
Right.
So I'm never going to go into the deal trying to screw you or to screw myself.
Right.
I always come in and say, how does each individual leave out of this deal with value added to them?
Right.
Obviously, above everything else, especially in 2025 with inflation and the world being crazy, the best value add is money. But if we can't have that in the beginning, what is the next thing to it? So if it's me doing production for you and you living over here for the network, which is basically free services in the beginning, that's good. But we know that the long run is that we want dollars to come through this door.
Absolutely.
So that's where the network long-winded came from, is that I know that I need pieces of content. I cannot pump out enough to compete with the masses, which is why you go around and you invest in people, in their dreams. And then you understand that once everybody's dreams come true, at the end of the day, it was to make a piece of money off of something outside of our 9 to 5. And if we do it correctly, this can go to the moon. I promise you. Because it just takes one. It literally takes one clip from Honest Hour to say, F Kendrick Lamar. That shit goes to Kendrick Lamar. He remixes it. Now we're getting paid in perpetuity because he had a snippet from Honest Hour from Mike saying that. Like, that's how this shit goes.
Absolutely. And consistency.
Yes. And that right there is the thing that is, I believe, undervalued. Consistency. One thing I love about Honest Hour, if there's 0 to a gazillion viewers, he was still doing it. That's what I love.
And when I first started this, shout out to Remedy Love. That's family right there. She's a Newburgh native. Yeah. Relocated to Atlanta. When you come back to town, you need to get on this couch.
There you go.
For what will be our 4th interview. I just love being around her. She's such a vibe, such a good spirit, and so knowledgeable about a lot of stuff. And I remember when I was talking to her about this idea, I was gonna do like 10 episodes.
Yeah.
And she looked at me, just knowing. Because same thing, content. She's a content creator. Just know, she goes, that ain't enough. She's like, you're going to have to push out at least 30 episodes and create a content algorithm and get people watching. And once you do that, then you could start talking about breaks, hiatuses, and doing different things.
Yep.
But at first, keep going. Keep
I agree
going.
with her. I agree.
So Obviously, you have the Honest Hour or Honest Hour. You have Conversations Over Chess. How many shows right now are on the network?
So we have Girl Talk taking off in February with Sanaya Ramaya. We have obviously Conversations Over Chess. We have Honest Hour. We have Sit with Slink taking off in February as well. We have Kadeem, we call him KD. He has his own individual show that's coming to the network.
Okay.
Potentially, we may or may not see Rapper Die come on in February. We'll see.
Okay.
Trying to iron out some stuff over there.
Okay.
But I forget it. Oh, it's the Realest Hour. That's what he calls his. We have the Realest Hour, which is hosted by KD. We have a young lady out of Utah called Chatting with Miss Dang. She is a South Sudanese African woman out in Utah. So yes, people, I travel to where you're at to get the content. And then actually yesterday I had interviewed Sammy B.
She's another one.
Yeah.
She's another one. Sammy, if you watching
Yeah.
this, you've been ducking me too.
So with Sammy B,
But I know her schedule's wild, so
it is wild, but
it's hard to get a lock on her.
yeah, I'm glad she came out to the recording yesterday. We're just in talks. It's not on the network. Nothing's done. No ink and pen being dried yet, but we're in talks. Hopefully to get the Tuesday show moved over as well. So
Okay.
I would
Talk
say
about it Tuesdays.
Yes.
Let me tell you something about that real quick. And don't forget, Nerd Camp Sports, my sports show,
Yes.
is also moved over to the network too.
yes.
Which we got to iron the details out, but it is there.
It's there.
It is
Go check
there.
season 1 out.
You know, which, oh man, if you had all the episodes, we've done like at least 130 episodes.
Yeah.
Show's been going for 2 years.
Oh yeah, I didn't know you had all those.
Yeah,
Leave
man.
those over there.
Show's been going for 2 years. It's just, once again, we started on Facebook Live,
Mm-hmm.
and then we went to Instagram Live, then we went to StreamYard. So, like, I have most of those episodes, but,
Yeah,
you know, we just want to keep it current.
I feel you.
You know,
I feel
we
you.
just going to keep it current. What we got now is where we going to start.
There you go.
Yeah. So the idea too is you have all these episodes, you have all these shows.
Mm-hmm.
The idea, what is the idea is to have everyone have a night, or how is it that you want to
Yeah,
give
and that's to add on to what was said before. Those were the shows that we currently have. I'm always looking, like I said, to invest in people, give my resources out to have more content on the show. So if you need me, hit me on Instagram. Do whatever it takes to get in contact with me. I love the content. Always willing to negotiate whatever it takes. To answer your question, to start out, I just wanted to have each individual show have their own day.
Okay.
The reason that is because then that gives the individual showrunner an individual's day to have an audience, right? Because if we're having Conversations Over Chess on Sunday and then also Honest Hour on Sunday, then it's just like it's two different shows competing for the same eyeballs.
Right.
Now, obviously, they'll air at specific times, let's just say 6 p.m., 7 p.m. That's cool and all, but we know attention spans aren't that long. So
Right.
the thought process and the intentionality is, hey, in the beginning, each individual showrunner will have a specific day, so we can own 7 days out of the week as the network. And then, obviously, let's just say we double in shows and there's now 14 shows. That's great, more pieces of content. But also, that means that we'll now have to go, like, in the real world. Somebody slotted on Monday at 8 X time a day, and then on Monday, Y time a day. So then we'll do it like a normal cable television show to say, Honest Hour at 7, Conversations Over Chess at 8, Sitting with Slink at 9. Like, once we get up to that point, then it will be time slotted per day, depending upon which day individuals have. So
Okay.
you want unique individual days, but obviously the more the merrier, which is great, but we don't want to necessarily just dilute it in the beginning, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I think what it is too is then that's when we have to start talking about time, how long shows are.
Yes.
You know, like I try to keep this show an hour and a half or under.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the target. Sometimes I get a little.
Yeah, it's all good.
I've had guests, you know, Prince Gabe. That was the longest episode, 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Sheesh.
Yeah, and the interview itself was like 2 hours, but we just really started conversating.
Yeah.
And, another show idea came from that. But she's a little hard to
Yeah.
get in touch with at times. She be doing her thing, though. Shout out to her.
Yeah.
So, also, let's talk about behind the scenes. Shout out to Don.
Oh yeah.
Don Fields.
Big shout out to Donovan Fields.
I've known Donovan since he was a young buck.
Yeah.
I've known Mike for a long time, his older brother. Mm-hmm. And he has a sister too, right?
Yeah, Alexis.
Okay. And, Don's always been a baller, but how did he come into the fold with this? And what is his role for the network?
Yeah, so oddly enough, a lot of people may not know, but I had a podcast with Donovan and Slinky probably when I was living in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
So we all originally had a podcast called Let's Be Real 845. We would do it via Zoom, and Don would actually edit those videos back in the day on iMovie. And this is when I didn't know anything about anything. I'm still at my accounting job, so I'm like, Don knew editing, GBTV, went to school for it, so he used to edit the videos back in the day. I believe both Slink and Don ended up playing basketball overseas, so we stopped doing the show because at that time we're in a gazillion different hour time zones.
Yeah, exactly.
So fast forward now to today, I jumped off the ledge and started the pod again, my own pod at this point, and I was doing everything in the beginning. The A to Z. Again, I just learned from Shaq, learned from Mark, learned from Google, learned from YouTube, did the A to Z myself, edits, everything, like all the good, all the bad was all me. So then I'm like, okay, I need to duplicate myself because I'm falling asleep at the desk and I'm sending reports to the wrong people now.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah, I'm not performing at the job that is paying the bills, so I need to get help. So Don, I forget who reached out to who, but I started doing my little motivational messages. And again,
shout out to those, man, because if you've never seen him, my man will dress like this in one, give you the greatest motivational seat. Then the next one, he'll be on a road. There'll be a chair. He'll be in a full dress suit, just really spitting knowledge.
For sure. So did the Wallow 267 approach, gave game. I'm not one to just meditate in the rain like Wallow. I'm not weird, but I knew that I could give a quality message just while still being myself. So Don has seen like, yo, bro, like I see the vision. Like you're just rinsing and repeating with Wallow, get the eyeballs, get the attention, and then shift that attention over to this podcast over here.
Absolutely.
So I was like, appreciate you reaching out, bro. He's like, if you ever need anything from me, I'm like, well, I need an editor.
like he opened the door. You was like,
yeah. So I think after that conversation, he really invested in seeing the vision of like, bro, like you're going hard, you're consistent, you're posting every single day. If you need an editor, let me know, and I'm here for you. And me knowing him my entire childhood, I knew above everything else he's dependable, he's reliable, trustworthy. I can give him the password, the credit card, the keys to the entire ship, and know that it's going to be okay.
He's not going to rob you.
Exactly.
That's not in his demeanor.
Above everything else, I knew that was needed. So I have my trustworthy, loyal companion along my side, and he literally, to answer your question specifically, what he does is he takes on, so let's just say there's 6-7 shows, he takes on a handful of shows and does the entire A to Z for them. So manages their social medias, edits the episodes, posts on all the socials, creates the thumbnails, like literally is just a duplicate of myself.
Right.
So anything and everything that I know, he knows, which is why not only is he doing this, he can grow beyond this. He can grow beyond this and go edit for a third party. He can go edit for whoever and then now make even more money on top of what I'm already paying him.
Wow. And is there a service that, like, because honestly, I'm like anyone who knows me knows I do photography too. Mm-hmm. People ask me to do, like I was just asked to do a music video.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about that.
Yep.
I don't understand like the angles and
Yeah.
all that. Like he was like, I know how to edit it. I just need someone back there. I'm just like yeah, but I'm like, if I don't know what I'm doing precisely, let's, I have a guy, meaning you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, someone who knows the ins and outs, because I'm not going to know. I could take pictures for you.
Yeah.
So is there services that you offer where you will do like videos of that nature, or photography things?
Yes.
Or even like, let's say I do a job and I'm like, listen, bro, I don't want to edit these pictures.
Yeah.
Like, I'll pass them to you and you'll just say, all right, I'll edit them for you and it's the price. Is there services like that just for anyone who could be interested in something like that?
Yeah, so some individuals, and I'm glad you asked that. So let's just say there's an individual who's just like, hey, I love everything that you do, this, that, and the third, but I don't specifically want to move my content over to your network. I just need your services. So I got a lot of that when it was just me doing it by myself. Like, yo, bro, I love what you do. Quality's there. Can you come and do that for me? So what I ended up doing was, I'm like, okay, I'll just start my own production company. So again, being business savvy, I have Conversations Over Chess LLC, and then I have another LLC that's called 3A Media, which is my production company. So what that does is, if you just want to hire me to film, to edit, to capture photos, to capture videos, to clear up your audio, anything and everything that has to do with media production, you can hire me from 3A Media, and we can render that service for you in basically that manner. The intentionality behind that is because one hand washes the other. So again, like you said, you got to do your research. Back in the day, productions, Warner Brothers, Paramount, powers to be, would own the movie theaters.
Okay.
The government said you can't own the movie theaters, own the movie, and own the production, so they made it as if you're a monopoly, so you have to break it apart.
Yeah.
So then they broke apart. So I'm like, okay, by law you have to be broken apart. I think they repealed that law since then. We're not gonna get into all of that, but basically, what I did was, I know that I have a network. I know that I have a production company. So let's take the Tyler Perry approach. I created my shows, written, directed, produced, right, for the 3 shows that I have.
Right.
And I have my media arm come in and film it and bring those to life. So not only can I just say there's an expense from Conversations Over Chess LLC, because that expense is paying this media production, oh, by the way, that I already own already. So there's more of a finance and accounting tax loophole, essentially, by having it like that, where literally one hand is washing the other. So yes, you can hire me via 3A Media to do basically media production services, whatever it is that you need, we provide. But it's also just the one hand washes the other, where obviously Tyler Perry has his studio production producing his own shows.
Absolutely, because you got to start from somewhere.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry started with plays.
Exactly. Exactly.
And now he's like a faucet multi-millionaire with this whole thing. So you can't ever knock the man.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's literally all it is just like, a lot of individuals, I believe, get it confused in the sense of like, oh, I can't be that, or I don't know how to do that, or whatever it may be. Sometimes we get caught up in our mind. But I'm just of the mindset of, if I know that I want to be that, I need to establish the foundation of that now.
Absolutely.
Which I already have done.
Absolutely.
Literally. So
if you were to say, if there was a mission, or, I guess it's a mission statement.
Yeah.
For what the COC network is about.
Yes.
What would that mission statement be?
The mission statement would be exactly what sits in the Instagram right now. It's the storytelling network. I believe that every single person on earth has a story to be told. And I believe that it's a very important one, it's an entertaining one, and that it's one that individuals in the world would listen to. 8 billion people, I'm sure there's a million for sure that would listen to it. It's just up to myself, my team, and the showrunners to tell the most compelling story possible. Now, don't ever get it twisted. That story does not need to be a script written. It does not need to be formulated in this complete, formulated, nicely put box.
Right.
It could be a great story of choose this or that, what we just played.
Right.
That was a nice story told in a very unique and fun and interacting way.
Right.
So that's what the mission of this whole network is to be a storytelling network. Period. However way you want to tell that story, whichever medium, audio, video, visual, whichever way you want to do it, that's what this is. I believe that's the greatest mission of all because individuals are the currency of this network. And I believe that is the most important currency in the world is people, human beings. And I think a lot of people got it effed up where it's like, if I'm not a mega Shannon Sharp, I'm not important. And I'm like, nah, you are. You're important.
Everyone is important, and I want to say this because I was saying I said it on the sports show earlier, and we kind of got off topic at the end. like the last part's got to
Yeah.
way crazy. And I had said yo, I'm okay with let's say I'm able to make six figures from doing this podcasting. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I don't need all the fame and the fortune. If I'm gonna get more money, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I don't need the fame because it comes with scrutiny.
Yes.
It comes with people watching every move, which is why. And I look at certain individuals who really take the time to make it work.
Yes.
I speak always of Oswin Benjamin.
Yes.
If I can get out to Arizona and he's willing to do it, we're doing it. we're doing it.
Yes.
We're doing it. But he posted, I was just kind of looking through these things that his post, and he had a post of just him, working. He was just him here working my 9 to 5. Looked like he was construction. He goes knuckles ashy, just giving a message. But this is a guy who he's been on Sway.
Yeah.
He's done that 9 fingers of death thing. He was at the BET Awards. He performed there. He just performed at halftime during the Suns and Grizzlies game.
Lit.
And he's the most humble human being. The most humble human being that you could ever imagine. And it's just you can make it happen, but you don't need all that fame and glory.
That's one when you say J. Cole or the other, I think it was J. Cole versus Kendrick, that's the stuff that I admire is because I lost an individual or pushed away really somebody that was near and dear because I wanted all of that. I wanted the fame, the notoriety, And the conversation I had with Sammy B, wait till you watch that episode because I cried on it.
Okay.
Because I was like, yo, I'll give that all up to have her back because I don't want any of that. And it's not that I don't want any of that. It's just that that wasn't more important than her. And that's the stuff that I love and enjoy about J. Cole is that he is so from the outside, obviously I don't know from the whole one, he could be beating his wife over, but from the outside, it looks like he's just so grounded. This rapping is what I do. It's not who I am.
Right.
Right. And that's what I enjoy about him and his life where it's just bro, I'm humble, G. I'm blessed to be here because I was you fucking starving and Hove shut me down and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, nigga, that's literally everybody.
Exactly. You can get 100 no's, but all you need is one yes.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
So the other thing is the network has 6 or 7 sponsors.
Yes.
So, of course, we got to shout them out.
Oh, yeah.
We got to shout them out. So who are the sponsors? And just give us a little background on those men and women behind those sponsors.
Yeah, so shout out to all the sponsors of the network. We have the lovely Wrld Izyorz. We have, I gotta get put on the spot. Wrld Izyorz, 10 Toes, Classic Cloth, Legendary Apparel, DJ DMC, and Pay the Cost. They're one in the same. It's owned by the same person. How those came about is those are individuals who, again, I just look around the lay of the land and see individuals who I have resources, you have opportunity. And the resource that I had is, again, eyeballs. Again, with the content. If I put out $164,000 a year, that's going to garnish a lot of eyeballs.
Absolutely.
Even if it's one eyeball per one thing, that's 164,000 times that one person looked at that.
Absolutely.
So I just asked them. I said, hey, look, this is what I want to do. I'm obviously not going to charge you an arm and a leg because I have no numbers or no data analysis, but just to render a service because, I am promoting, I'm wearing the gear. Obviously not right now. Shout out to Bag Runner. But, I'm doing a lot. Can you or would you want to be interested in, being a sponsor for, at the time, Conversations Over Chess podcast, and then now, in turn, the network? and they all agreed. They gave me an opportunity at a low rate, and then as I showed my worth and my value, that rate has changed. But it just come down to strictly asking an individual who you can see that they're hungry. You know, it's not just asking any old body. It's asking individuals who's like, I can see where they just need a little bit of what I have, and if we work together, it could be a match made in heaven.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
And that's just it. The world is yours. Shout out to Caesar.
facts.
Where's his store located?
It's at William Street. It's like 144, I believe, South William.
I had a conversation with him, and I'm planning on some merchandise.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing, kind of just all working together in alignment. So maybe he'll say, "All right, give me this, I'll sell your merchandise."
Yeah.
And then so those are the things that we have to look at too, and how to work together, which is why I explained, for anyone who doesn't know all the things I do,
Yeah.
the facets of what I call the gauntlet, and that's just all the showrunners guest starring on each other's shows.
Yes.
And really just getting, so we know one another, and more importantly, that the audience knows who we are as individuals.
Yes.
And getting to know each other.
Yeah, and there's something that I want individual members that's viewing this to Google is the word synergy, because you can create a certain specific synergy when you work together. And again, I was the best seized at degrees, but basically the books that I was reading, corporations that work together in joint ventures, they look for specific synergies where you bring something, I bring something, and that us working together brings the greatest thing ever, the greatest product, the greatest whatever for that individual customer. So creating synergies is what I'm all about, because now with us working in tandem, it will be the greatest thing delivered to the powers to be. So that's what I try to look for, is just let's create a synergy together. Let's create the motion. Let's create the thing that I want to be. And it's so funny because speaking about the brands, I was always like, dang, I think I might need, me specifically, I was like, think I might need my own, da-da-da, I want my own. I'm like, nah. Why can't I just make Wrld Izyorz the most firest thing ever? The same way how
Absolutely.
an athlete could put something on, Beyonce could rock a Teflon or whatever that shit's called.
Absolutely.
And now everybody in the world wants the motherfucker.
Yep, just
Why
because
can't-
she wore it.
Exactly. I was like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do for these companies. Like these sponsors, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to become that for them so that I can be the poster boy. Now, a lot of people be like, why do that? Because when they make the sale, they get all the money. That's not what it's about. We are both winning, because that means I had the viewer. You as the viewer had to view me to get to him.
Right.
I won because you viewed my thing.
Right.
He won because you purchased their thing. It's not always about that. That's why that's what I be trying to show people. It's like it's not always about that.
But so many people spend so much focus and time on getting to the bag that they're like, they miss the bigger picture.
Yes.
They miss the bigger picture. They miss the bigger picture of what do we need to sacrifice to get there.
Yeah.
Do we all want the money? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Like, who wouldn't want the money? But it's not always about the money. We have to find a way to collectively make the money together.
Yes.
And have one hand wash the other.
Yeah. And you know what I've learned, and Caesar and I have had this conversation, is that, and it's so funny because I'm now in real time realizing that's probably why that situation that you and I probably discussed off camera about that show coming over and not coming over is probably why it's not working out. Is because what Caesar and I realize is that we don't need anything from each other.
Right.
I think that is what's been the most beneficial thing for any showrunner that came onto the network, any person that I do deals with, just like any synergies that's created, is that we don't really need anything from each other. We're not starving together. And that's one thing that I got to make sure I point out. Yes, it's a lot easier when you're making the money that you and I make. Yes, it's a lot easier when we got the support that you and I have. So I get that side of it, because I'm sure the person is going to be like, yo, it's easier to say that you got this, that, and the third. Yeah, it is a lot easier. But that's why I do it the way that I do, is because I don't necessarily need anything from Caesar. Like, I don't need right
Right,
away.
right.
I don't need that. I need that dollar now, bro. Like, and I think that's the problem, is that that's why they always be so focused on the bag instead of the bigger picture, is because they want it now, because they're starving now.
Right.
We're not starving now. We're about to go home to a cooked meal. We got a couple dollars and take a little $5 meal from, fucking Wendy's or whatever it may be.
Right, right.
And that is why Caesar and I, the rest of the sponsors and I, all work well together, is because we don't necessarily need anything from each other in the sense of where we're so money hungry now. We understand the bigger picture, where it's just like, hey, look, it might take 3 years. All right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to, is like, if you can get your money now and you want it, all right, cool. But
Yeah.
sometimes you have to, and this is going to sound kind of corny, but one of my favorite shows growing up was Boy Meets World.
Okay.
Mr. Feeney was the teacher we all should have had.
Yeah.
And there was a part where he's talking to Corey in his garden. And he's telling Corey, you see that flower or whatever right there? He goes, yeah. He goes, that used to be inside. And I moved it out here.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, why? He goes, well, because out there and there, it grew as far as it could, pretty much. I knew I had to put it somewhere where it could flourish and grow to all it could be. So sometimes you have to relocate.
Yes.
Or sometimes you have to stay in a place or get to a place to where you can grow. And you have to just make sure you're picking the right individuals.
Yes.
Like, you're having trouble in a sense with one. And that happens.
Yeah, of
that
course.
happens. Things change. People's ways don't align anymore. Sometimes things just kind of go in a different direction.
Yeah.
So it's all about kind of refocusing on that. Another thing I want to get into is I was so upset that yesterday I forgot about the breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
And I had mentioned, because it was my wife's birthday.
Oh, yeah. That's why I figured you was doing it. Yeah, I
so
figured you good.
at first she was like, oh, you can go. But then Friday she said something to the effect of, you got anything planned for Saturday or at all? I don't want any surprise plans. And I was like, no. And then I noticed the post, and I was like, well.
Yeah.
But I had told you,
you're good. I
know.
figured, I remember it was wifey's birthday, so happy
Yeah,
birthday
so-
to you. But I was like, nah, I'm sure it's okay.
Yeah. What's the next one? February 8th?
Yes,
Okay.
every second Saturday.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, because I got plans the 1st. So, which I want to talk to you about, actually.
Okay.
I got plans on the 1st, but the 8th, I think I'm all right.
All right.
So I want to talk about the men's and women's breakfast, because these are very important. And it's something that I think people should know about.
Yeah.
Because it's about bringing awareness as well.
Yes.
So for obviously I know, but for people watching, what are the breakfasts? How'd you come up with the concept, and what is the mission
Okay.
behind these breakfasts?
That is a great question. So the concept of the breakfast came from when I lived in Salt Lake City, Utah. They had a black men's breakfast, where obviously in Utah the black are the minority. And what happens there is essentially, what happened for me, I should say, is the greatest thing that I needed at the time. Black men fellowshipping and giving out game. At that breakfast, you had individuals aging from 12 all the way up to probably about 80, and everybody was giving out game. So if you're a lawyer, I'm an accountant, you work for Delta, this, that, and the third, everybody, it just fostered a just fellowship that I've never seen before like that. And obviously, because we're the minority and we're all that we have, it was even more heightened, because we really needed each other. So that's where the concept comes from. Salt Lake City, Utah is where I lived and where I attended that. So I said, you know what, I'm going to do the same thing, but bring it over here, but just put the twist on it of, I want it to be not only just networking, but I want it to be a safe space. So it started off with just men, because again, I just rinsed and repeated Utah. And then
Absolutely.
and then Lydia Molina? I don't know. Lydia reached out to me. Apologies for the last name. But Lydia reached out and was like, hey, what about the women? Are you doing anything for them? And I was like, I would love to, but it's hard for me to say I'm putting on an all-women's breakfast. I'm going to pay for it. See you there, ladies. And then, like, I just feel like I didn't know how to communicate that. I felt like a woman should have communicated that.
Right, and
So
you had no way of moderating it.
yeah,
Like, because you're a male,
Yeah.
how are you going to moderate for females?
exactly. This is supposed to be all women, and I'm the only guy at the table. It doesn't work like that. So when she reached out, I said, "This is great. This is what I was just looking for. I need a woman to host the women's side while I host the men's side." And literally, it's supposed to be the networking as well as a safe space. So what does that really mean? The safe space is, hey, I'm getting abused by my husband, and I just really just need to be around other women, whether they're black, white, or indifferent, and just enjoy this free time that I have. Hey, I'm homeless, and I just need a free meal. Hey, I just need a break. I make a gazillion dollars. I just need a break. Come chat it up with some people who are like-minded, some people who just want to relax, some people who I may not ever brush shoulders with because I'm in the clouds. That's what this lunch is for, outside of just the networking, because what I really want it to be is just where deals are closed. The same way how we can go, and we all know that individuals of the white race can go golf and get deals closed.
Just thinking about it.
Like the same exact way how they can go golf and get deals closed, and it doesn't matter, and da 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 da, shake hands, d d d d d. That's what this is. Come eat breakfast and come close on deals. You and I had this conversation about you coming to the network at the breakfast, and we closed on the deal right then and there.
Absolutely.
Paperwork came after work, more talks came, but that's what it's all about. Come network, because I hate my job at CNS, but I know I like to get to the Amazon, but my boy Bari knows Bonte, who knows this person, and they always come over here. Come to the breakfast. That's what it's really about.
Absolutely.
Like, closed mouths don't get fed over here. Like, what's going on?
Absolutely. And so now you got the men and you got the women. So far, how has, in your opinion, overall has the success of these events been?
So I believe where there's one individual, there's a success.
Absolutely.
Because it only takes one. And on the women's side, it's been a lot more in the sense of like numbers are growing. And the men's side, about the same. I know that obviously I'm comparing it to what I know. So when I think back to Utah, it was a bunch of us. Like, it was taking over there.
Right,
and
right,
that's what I
right.
want it to become, where the best case scenario that I dream it to be is that every second Saturday from 10 to noon, IHOP shuts down because they know Elijah Wells's men's and women's breakfast is about to pack the house out.
Absolutely.
That is the greatest scenario that I could think of, where every single table is filled with black men, black women, in between, white women, white men, like every single person, every single ethnic group, and we are all brushing shoulders, all in the cahoots of all trying to network and get to the same place together.
And that's, and that's very, very feasible.
It is.
Very feasible.
IHOP is not that big down there.
No, it's not. And I just think for us to get it there, I think we just have to bring more attention to it.
Yes.
Post it more regularly, and just start saying, hey, I've had people come through, and it's about getting them to come back.
Yeah.
It's coming to get them back.
Yes.
And kind of just keep pushing that envelope, because, we know what people need.
Definitely.
We know what they desire, and I think it's important. It's a good thing to have. It's a good thing to have.
And I mentioned it before, but just like having individuals say, hey, I needed this fellowship from a man-to-man perspective is needed.
Absolutely.
Like, myself, I'm the youngest. I have an older brother, but I have a lot of friends. So it's just like everybody has that, and I know that. So it's just like, why can't I offer that to somebody where it's just like, hey, we can be your band of brothers every second Saturday from 10 to noon.
Absolutely.
And that literally is enough fix that people need sometimes. 2 hours of just, laughing, ha, 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 what's going on, learning. Like, that's literally the quick fix that people need to last them another 31 days. Literally.
Absolutely. Now, is there any plans to integrate the men and the women together?
Yes,
oddly
oddly enough, the first men's and women's breakfast in January, we integrated men's and women. We
Of course,
did that.
the one I missed.
Yes, we did that because Lydia was sick. So I was like, I'll just host both because I know it was a recommendation from fellow individuals, and the couple men's and women's breakfast meetings prior. So I was like, I guess this is just God's divine order of just saying, just mix them both. I can host everybody, and just see how it went. So
And how'd it go?
it was actually fairly light number wise, and I believe it was because a lot of people were sick.
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
Everyone's sick.
It's cold and everybody is black. I ain't going that now. Like, that's your problem.
So, this is season 2.
Yes.
Season 2 is going to be a lot of different things and a lot of different stories. And I want to tell a lot of different prerogatives, if you will.
Okay.
And one thing that I do is I end the show with a positive ending message.
Okay.
But I'm going to add something to that. This season, I'm going to have my guest tell something about themselves that that people don't know. Maybe something that I didn't cover in this interview, or maybe something that you would want people to know about you. One thing that people don't know about you that you would like them to know, or you don't mind that they know.
That's a good question. Something that you don't know about me? I'm pretty open, so I'm like, man, I'm trying to think. Something that you don't know about me. Oh, man. Something that a lot of people, I feel like you might know this, but something that a lot of people may not know about me is that I actually want to live in all 50 states. I want to live in all 50 states. I lived in 15 so far. It was said to me in just passing. My cousin was just like, I was like, y'all bouncing around a little bit too much. God damn, I need to sit the hell down. And then she had just jokingly said, like, why though? Like, why? You're young. You can do what you want. And I was like, And then ever since she said that, I just like perpetuated like I sped up the process of trying to move state to state to state. So I think it's my lifelong dream to live in at least all 50 states. Literally, in the past 5 years, I've been in like 5 different corporate jobs across 5 different states.
Wow.
I've never been one reason why on top of that is that it's statistically proven that if you switch jobs, you make more money. It's statistically proven. So I was like, I'll make more money and I get to check off the bucket list item of living in all 50 states. Like I said, I'm sure I have a long way to go, and I'm sure that dream might get diminished as soon as I get into a relationship. So I'm sure that's going to get stopped at some point, but something that you might not know is that I want to live in all 50 states.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's next for you? And that could be if there's another business venture on the way, or what's next in the growth of the network?
So literally, it's so funny you say that. My phone's over there. But Q1, if I remember correctly, I have established an equipment. So in Q1, January, February, March of this year, my biggest thing and goal as of right now, personal, private, like anything, is to establish, meaning move shows over, move the content over, get the shows built out. And then equipment means buy more cameras, buy more lights, buy whatever is needed to make sure that we're running as a well-oiled machine, all in January, February, March.
Okay.
Q2 is grow, promote, and boost. A lot of people may not understand, but in this world, you have to pay to play. So
Absolutely.
Every single dollar owned to my name, clear out the 401k, is going to growing, promoting, and boosting every single show that's on the network. Because, again, I believe 8 billion people on this earth, there has to be a million that wants to listen to Honest Hour. You're not telling me otherwise. But it's
Absolutely.
up to me to go find that million on behalf of the network.
Yes.
As the network owner, it's up to me to go find these audiences. So how do you do that? You have to consistently grow. That means you have to promote. That means you have to boost. That means you have to do marketing. You have to market your shows, people. So that's Q2. Q3 is continue to grow. Grow in the sense of, at that point, we should be monetized. We should have the sponsorship dollars rolling in, all of that fun jazz. And in Q4 is earn. I feel like my personal goal is if we are not monetized on YouTube by year end, that is not a successful year. Because you're not telling me that 164,000, right?
Uh-huh.
There's just no way. There's just no way.
Too many people on the planet.
The only thing that you need is 4,000 watch hours, 4,000 public watch hours to make money on YouTube. There's just no way if we pump out that much content, we're not making money off YouTube.
Absolutely
So
not.
I believe it's my goal as the network owner to say if we are not monetized, this was not a successful year.
I can see where you're coming from. You're hungry to get to that goal.
Yeah.
And for anyone out there who's looking for that, he's looking for more shows to add to the network.
Yes.
To add to the network. So, with all that said, and all we've done, I appreciate you being the premiere episode of season 2. It felt like the right thing to do.
Yes, sir.
We're anything I can do, to help, because I look at it like this. Even though you do the posting for the medias, I still do the posting myself.
Yes.
Still repost because I also work with an entertainment company, and the artists sometimes think they ain't got to do no work.
But
But
I'm losing sleep for y'all mother lovers. Y'all good. Help a brother out.
at least you can do is at least post your own videos. So that's what we got to do. It's got to be a team effort. The team effort is everything in this. So now, last but not least, I end each episode with a positive ending message. If you look into the camera, just give the audience something that's positive, uplifting, spirited, a message for them to take on to the next day and beyond.
Oh, man.
The floor is yours.
Positive ending message. Quick message, y'all. Listen. You have to wake up every single day as if it's your last day. You have to go and get it as if it's the last thing on earth. No matter what, if you put your mind into it and if you believe it's already written, it's already good, you just have to go put in the work. Whatever is for you is for you. I want to let you know. If it's not for you, don't even worry about it. What's out of your control, don't even worry about it. If it's in your control, do the best that you can do so that you can sleep well at night. Put in, what you put in is what you get out. That's all I'll say. That's the message that was taught to me at a young age, and that's the message that I live by. If I didn't get what I wanted out of it, it's because I did not put in the work needed. As simple as that. What you put in is what you get out. Simple.
Can't go wrong with that. I appreciate you. I appreciate anyone tuning into this. So this is the premiere episode of Honest Hour, episode 1 of season 2. We'll be back. We got a lot in store for this season, a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, a lot of interviews. And you know what? I don't usually say this, but my guest always says this.
Peace.